So I'm going to go over the 2.0 practice problems that you were supposed to do on your own. So here we go. We're going to start with our first step, which is we're going to write down our variables. D equals, M equals, and V equals. So we're going to write down our variables, and then we're going to figure out which ones we have. So it says that we want to determine the density. So determine is our context clue to let us know that that's what we're looking for, is density. That's our question mark. So our D is going to be our question mark. We're looking for density. And then it says, of an apple, if its volume is, so it tells us the volume of the apple is 81.3 centimeters cubed. Okay? And then it says, and its mass is 78 grams. So the mass is 78.0 grams. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're just going to plug these numbers into our density equation. So density is equal to mass, so our mass is 78 grams, over, so over means divide by, 81.3 centimeters cubed. So now it's just a matter of typing that into my calculator. So I'm going to take my calculator, and I'm going to type 78. I'm going to click divided by, because the line means divided by, 81.3. When I do that and hit enter, what I'm going to get is 0.959 for my answer, and then my units are going to be grams divided by centimeters cubed. So there's the answer to the first practice. So practice problem number 2. So looking at practice problem number 2, it says a marble with a mass of 5.04 grams was dropped into a graduated cylinder containing 10 milliliters of water. This caused the water level to raise to 12 milliliters. What is the density of the marble? So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to write down my variables. So D equals, M equals, V equals. So if I look, it says what is. So what is a context clue that means question mark. So what is the density? So our question mark again is going to be density, just like it was in the previous problem. Now I need to figure out what is my mass and what is my volume. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, the marble has a mass of 5.04 grams. So I know that 5.04 grams is my mass. And then it tells me about water. So it tells me I have 10 milliliters of water. And then I add my marble to the water and it goes up to 12 milliliters. So 12 milliliters represents my water and my marble. Okay, so that's water and the marble. We want just the volume of the marble. So I'm going to subtract from it the volume of just the water. So just the water is 10 milliliters. So water only. So when I do that, 12 minus 10, that's going to be 2 milliliters. That's going to be my volume of just the marble. So now I've got my mass, I've got my volume. All I have to do is put these numbers into my equation. So density is equal to my mass, so my M, my mass, which is 5.04 grams, divided by my volume, which is going to be 2 milliliters. Okay? So now all I have to do is type this into my calculator. So 5.04 divided by 2, and we get 2.52 grams per milliliter. Okay, so we're going to do the last problem. It says the size of a Rubik's Cube are 5.7 centimeters. The mass of the Rubik's Cube is 84.6 grams. What is the density of the Rubik's Cube? So again, starting our problem the same way as we always have, we're going to write down D equals, M equals, and V equals. And we're going to figure out what those things are. So it says, what is the density? So what is tells me that's what we're looking for is density. So density is going to be my question mark. And now I need to figure out what is my M and what is my V. So it says really plainly, it says the mass, so it literally spells it out for us, is 84.6. So we're going to put 84.6 grams for our mass. Now we need to figure out volume. Okay? So to find volume, it tells us that the length of the Rubik's Cube side is 5.7, okay? So what that means is each one of these sides on my Rubik's Cube, so every one of these sides, so my width, my height, my length, right? Each one of these dimensions is 5.7. So we can find our volume of a cube or a rectangular prism using the equation length times width times height, right? And so we have all of those dimensions because a cube, all the sides are equal. So my length is 5.7 times my width, which is also 5.7, times my height, which is also 5.7. We're going to multiply those together. So 5.7 times 5.7 times 5.7. So we put that into the calculator, and we get 185.193, and then centimeters times centimeters times centimeters is going to give us centimeters to the third power, so centimeters cubed. So I've got my mass, I've got my volume. Now I just need to put things into my calculator. So density is equal to mass, so my mass is 84.6 grams, divided by my volume, which is 185.193 centimeters cubed. Now we put that into my calculator, so I would take my 84.6 and divide it by 185.193, and I'm going to get 0.456, which would round to 0.46. And that's going to be grams divided by centimeters cubed, right? So my answer on my calculator is actually 0.456820722. We don't need all that junk. Actually, what we should look for is what is our fewest number of significant figures. So my original measurement of 5.7, that's 2 significant figures. So I'm going to cut my answer off right there after the 5. The 6 rounds the 5 up to a 6. So we get 46 or 0.46 grams per centimeter cubed as my final answer. There you go.